backstage at the Talulah show with Nicole Warne. Now Nicole is a famous Australian fashion blogger who has a site called Gary Pepper Vintage. So famous that she's actually going to be walking on the, not just reporting on the show, but walking on the runway. So tell me, Nicole, is this your first sort of runway show as a model?
Yes, and I wouldn't even call myself a model. I'm kind of just walking as a blogger. It's so weird. I'm actually not nervous. I'm really excited about the idea. So yeah, I can't wait to get on the catwalk.
So how many looks are you going to be modelling?
I'm actually only doing one. So I'm opening the show and I'll be leading the finale at the end. So I think there's 43 looks altogether and the models are doing 3 looks each, and I'm just going to be out the back waiting for everyone to come back because I'll be doing one look.
So tell me, what do you think about the whole sort of evolution of fashion blogging? I mean, it's really has, how long have you been online?
I've been online for about 2.5 years now, and to be honest, I'm still wrapping my head around it. It's definitely taking off in Australia right now, so it's moving very, very quickly, and I never would have thought that a blogger would be on a catwalk, so I'm very excited, and yeah, it's interesting.
But I mean, when you say it's sort of moving very quickly, I mean, you know, you're now part of a sort of, I'm calling them blogglomerates. Felt, which is, for people who aren't familiar, felt.com is like a conglomerate of, is it 8 blogs?
It's 8 bloggers, yeah.
And you're sort of pooling your traffic with the view to sort of obviously generating more advertising sales. And you're actually in some kind of Nike ad or something tomorrow night, aren't you?
Yes, Sarah, Marg and Zanita and myself will be running 13Ks. So they actually approached the felt.com and asked who of us were runners and were quite sporty, and we all put our hand up, and then they kind of came up with this really nice concept of promoting She Runs the Night, which is just about promoting and encouraging women to run safely at night in groups. So we kind of thought putting all of our readership together and kind of giving this wonderful cause some nice exposure online, and hopefully everyone comes along tomorrow night. So actually no, sorry, it's Thursday.
So now you originally sort of interned at a magazine, didn't you?
I did.
Which magazine was that?
I interned at Grazia for 6 months, and then I went to Harper's Bazaar for a few months.
But that's only a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it was probably, yeah, it was actually about 3 months before I started Gary Pepper. I was actually offered a job at one of the, as the wardrobe coordinator, and it kind of made me assess what I wanted to do in the industry, and that's how Gary Pepper kind of came about. And I started a few months after.
So a couple of years later, and there's a big fire truck right next to us, just absolutely ruining the sound. A couple of years later, you know, your front row at shows. You've got, I mean, what is your traffic? Can I ask what your traffic is?
Yeah, sure. I get about 400,000 hits a month, and I reach about 1.3 million a month through all my social media, because I have about 93,000 fans on Facebook.
That's right. I mean, that's extraordinary. So, I mean, here you are a couple of years later with an audience that's, I mean, some might say it's actually bigger than the magazine that you were working on. I mean, what do you think about that? The sort of the power of fashion blogging and how it's, you know, how it's moving in that direction.
I think it's really exciting. I don't think bloggers try to compete with magazines at all. So when people actually compare bloggers to magazines and what reach we have, I think, you know, it's a completely different field. Bloggers, I don't know, I do think they're completely separate, and I would never try to compare both. But I do think it's interesting, and I really appreciate the fact that magazines such as Harper's Bazaar have actually asked some of us to come on board and work together. We did Style Network together for a couple of months, which was amazing. And yeah, it's been really good, and I think there's a lot of respect in the industry, and I've always respected magazines, so yeah.
And final question, I mean, are you actually making a living from your blog?
Not yet.
Really? With that amount of traffic?
Yeah, it's quite bizarre. I've never taken on advertising for my blog. I think with the brands that I wanted to be aligned with, they didn't have a budget for it right now, but after Felt, and they kind of can see the way blogging is going in Australia, they're all kind of sitting down and really taking it seriously. So, I mean, I think this year would all make some money from it, hopefully, because, you know, I basically go backwards financially, but I do it because I love it, so it doesn't really matter how much I make.
And we should point out that, whoa, sorry.